All right, I think we are live.
Whew. We're live. Yeah? Showing it?
I see it.
Wow. How you been?
Not too bad.
Not too bad?
Been a little while since the last one, huh?
About a month,
Yeah.
right? Coming to you live from Rod Building World Headquarters in Mom's basement. Yeah, the mud hole basement. Cool, so why don't, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do tonight, why people are filtering in here.
So we got a pretty cool show tonight. We are going to do a couple different things, but all relates to making your own custom grips. Turning your own custom grips, making custom cork grips. That's going to be the main focus. But we're also going to show some EVA, how to make small little slices of EVA on our trusty RBS-Pro wrapper, which we got the upgraded version here right now.
Yeah, so speaking of that, we had been showing all of our work on the RBS-Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the folks out there have the American Tackle Power Wrapper, or they have the Pack Bay Power Wrapper. So we haven't quite shown the chuck upgrade.
Yeah.
So for those out there that have the American Tackle, now granted, this is just one section. So those that have the Pack Bay or the American Tackle Power Wrapper, it's 3 sections, and it's what, 8 feet long.
Right.
So this is just one section with the American Tackle Power Wrapper. We took our CRB chuck upgrade, which they'll get the part number up there. We took the chuck upgrade and we bolted her right here. You slide her in, bolt her right up, and you actually use the existing band. Don't use anything else. Use your existing O-ring / band here that came with your American Tackle or Pack Bay Power Wrapper on this one, and she's ready to rock.
Yeah. So pretty cool. I see you already have a Mandrel chucked up there. We got an EVA grip on, so we'll get that to a little bit later. But
yeah,
I'm going to show a little custom handle. And we had a lot of awesome questions earlier on the event page on Facebook, so we'll definitely try to answer almost all of those.
Yeah, I think they're going to put them up here on the on our teleprompter.
And we'll kind of slide those in as as we segue to each part of this Facebook Live episode.
Yeah, so you are going to work with, he's going to work with Cork tonight, right?
Yep.
So we've got the jig kit out here, which are, what are these? These are the
MHCJs.
MHCJs. Now do they come in a 4-piece kit and individual?
Yeah, so we have the 4-piece kit, so you can do, your pie shapes, you can do horizontal slices, all of that, the 4 different variations. And we also have the kit, which will, I'm sure the guys will be throwing in links throughout the entire show. So I'm going to be doing, we're going to be doing a little custom cork, putting together, each little patterns or pie shape patterns.
Yep.
Putting those together, each individual one. We'll kind of show how the process is done, glue those up. And then I know you're going to show a little bit, we're going to do an inlet for a cork grip as well.
Right, exactly. So those that build their own fly cork, or if you build, anything else really. I mean, even if you built a foregrip that you wanted to slip over the hood on one of those, what is that? That's a Fuji KSS/ASH, I believe. That you can also slide over. And I'm going to show you guys how to use a tool called a Crafty cutter. So, that technically that applies more to the fly anglers out there that want to do a fly grip that then fits over, for example, yeah, that was the little piece here. So, for example, what he was referring to, this is a Pack Bay channel lock fly seat. And of course, you have the little piece here that you will need to inlet a cork grip for, and that will slide right on there. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that tonight, and show you how to glue up some cork rings and things like that. But looks like everybody's kind of filtering in. Are we still intro ready? You guys want to get this thing started?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
$195. Yeah, we're back already. You know, I cannot get enough of that intro.
It's pretty good. Props to the guys behind the scenes
That's it.
making us look good.
We got J-Boy and Nikki Mintz back there. They're, I'm telling you, they're the deal. Heck of a team.
Absolutely.
It's like a little shake and bake, maybe some, you know, maybe it's like Thelma and Louise. Maybe we should just go there.
I think it's a
and do
little
that.
more appropriate.
Yeah. So anyway, well, everybody welcome. We kind of prepped the show there a little bit before we went to the intro. We are going to start going through this, showing you guys how to really take that custom rod build that maybe you've been working on some thread inlays. Maybe you've been working on some trim bands. Maybe you've got some abalone on there. But maybe you're just buying regular grips, you know?
Yeah.
We can just get wild with it,
Yeah.
you know? Turn it up a notch a little, so, you know, what do you think about that?
Just want to dive into it?
We
Might as-
can, yeah, absolutely.
do a
Do you want
couple
to
questions?
jump on a couple questions here real
We
quick?
might as well. I think these might have been, I don't know if these are live questions or not, but anyway,
Yeah, I think some of these were
previous event questions. So here we go.
Right.
Bob McKee, how do you seal the cork to make it look natural? So, first of all, cork is it's a natural product. So it's always going to vary a little bit in how it looks. You know, some might have a little more filler than others.
Yep.
One thing you can do is we have a product called Cork Seal.
Yep.
So that's obviously a great way to protect your cork. You know, you're going to do that. So you can do it anytime, but preferably when you first put that grip on the rod before it's even used. Seal your cork, and that way down the road, you know, it's going to protect it from, you know, first of all, water, because water, you know, can get into cork.
Sure.
That's going to cause a little bit of damage over time. Just like the in and out of fishing every day, it's going to protect it, it's going to seal it, and that way you're not getting, you know, dirt or grime or anything in there.
Right.
Because there can be, you know, small pits and cavities in this cork, and that's going to just protect it in the long run. So
Yep.
that's what I would offer up.
Yep. That's a very, very good question. Also, so tonight, we're always doing giveaways, right?
Right.
So we're doing giveaways. We're going to put all of our giveaways on Hunter's account. So we'll be shopping on his credit card tonight.
Perfect.
As always, you know, we're going to do like and share this post. That's how you're going to get in the giveaway. We're going to be doing 3 different giveaways. So we're going to pick 3 of y'all to win color and camo EVAs. Okay, so we're going to go through and you'll have a couple different assortment of camo. You'll have some cork rings. We're going to kind of grab bag this stuff for you. That way you can get a feel. You want to see what? Some cork, some burnt cork, some composite cork. You want to see a couple different EVA grips. That's coming to you in a little grab bag. We're also going to do, we're going to choose 3 of y'all for that one. We're going to then do a runner-up, which is going to get a mandrel set. So I think there's, 4 mandrels in that mandrel set?
Mm-hmm.
That is 1/4, 3/8, 5/16, and 7/16?
I believe so.
Yeah, so 4 mandrels, and that's going to be able to use different sizes of EVA because we have multiple sizes of EVA. The 1/4 inch, which is, you know, the little one, that's the one that's going to fit all your cork rings. So you'll get a full mandrel set, so you can dive right in. And then, of course, the grand prize winner is going to get the CRB Grip Making Kit that also includes the steel mandrels. So that's really cool. That's going to be sandpaper. That's going to be the turning mandrel wax. You're going to get some pro paste. You're going to get kind of everything you need to literally sit down and make a grip.
Awesome.
So we're going to show all those pieces tonight. So again, we'll be doing that. Another question here real quick. Gary Clark, when you're putting epoxy on carbon grips, you put permagloss on all coats. Gary, you don't really have to. If I'm going to put epoxy on a carbon grip, I only use it to bond it because I like that kind of weave feel of it. I guess it's kind of grippy, you know. But we have a lot of guys that do coat over the top of it. I'm just going to use finish there. You know, use your pro coat. You can certainly use permagloss. Just be careful. That's not that one you want to work inside with because it's pretty you know, it'll make you want to open the windows and doors. Plus, you're going to have to put multiple coats on there. Although, if you want to use that, that'll really help you control how thick you put that on. You know, if you only want a little bit, perfect, because it is a very watery consistency.
Yeah. So that answered Barbara's question too. Can you epoxy on cork? It's the same concept. You definitely can, but like Chris said, use your Pro Coat. Don't use a paste epoxy. Make sure you're using a liquid, you know, a 2-part epoxy that you would finish your thread wraps with.
Yep, exactly. Daniel asked, why aren't you using the CRB wrapper? Daniel, we're not using the CRB RBS Pro tonight because we've shown that. And we've had a lot of people that have asked, you know, well, I already have the American Tackle or I have the Pac Bay Power Wrapper, and I know you guys have the Chuck upgrade, so we're going to rock the Chuck upgrade tonight. That's really the only reason for that. So we pulled a section off. You know, this comes obviously in 3 sections out, so we wanted to shrink it down a little bit. And show you guys the Chuck upgrade tonight, because on a previous show we've used the RBS Pro that we've got back here, but we wanted to show the Chuck upgrade tonight.
Yep.
So,
which it's essentially the same thing. It's just working with a different base.
That's it.
The motor, not the motor, the chuck, the pulley, the stand itself, exactly the same.
Yep.
The only thing we're missing basically is the RBS track. Yep. There you go. It's already ready.
That's the Benford Power Wrapper right there, boys. Cool. And then we will, Susie, yes. Hello from Michael. Can you thin cut EVA inlay between each cork ring and then glue them up? Absolutely. And I've actually got a few little thin cork ring or EVA rings I've cut here, and I'm going to show you how to go through and make really precise thin cuts on this EVA. I even have it measured out here. You'll see some black marks. If you hit it with a Sharpie pretty thick on some of these light colors like that, once you got it lined up, I've got it at, that's at 1 inch to make a 1 inch width. That's a 2 inch width. That's a 3 inch width. So you can take a tape measure, lay it out, drop it in with a little Sharpie, you know. You can darken it, you can lighten it, because eventually what you're going to do is you're going to cut on that line, plus you're also going to sand it down. So the Sharpie's going away, and then when I hit the gas, I can see right there where those lines are, and then I can cut.
Perfect.
So we'll show that in a little bit. What do you want to start with? You want to go? You want to leave this thing
let's
off?
Let's do some custom cork cutting. Want to do that?
Boom. Have at
So as we mentioned earlier, we do have the 4-piece jig set. See if I can hold these up all at one time here, guys.
MHCJ-set.
Let's try this.
Come on now.
I got it.
What you got?
So we have 4 different designs you can get. Curl that one over there, man. You can see all of them inside there. So I believe there's a 12, a 16,
yep, a slicer,
which
is
horizontal.
Yep, and then there's one that has some verticals with a angle in it.
Like a diagonal cut?
Yes.
So that's the 4-piece set, and you can obviously buy these individual, like, you know, according to which style you want. But for the value, the 4-piece set
those things
includes
are sweet.
it all.
Those are machined aluminum. Those are just no joke. That's
will
not
last
just some
forever.
cardboard or something.
Yeah,
last
they will
forever.
last forever. So what I'm going to be using today, I'm just going to go with the standard, the 12-piece cut. Now, I will say this does come with a nice little ring that goes in the bottom of this. Make sure you guys always use this ring. Put it in the bottom. That's going to keep your blade from actually, when you do cut through this aluminum, you know, and through your cork, it's going to keep it from going to the very bottom and pretty much dulling your blade.
On the aluminum.
On the aluminum. So it's going to last so much longer. And also, I'm going to do just one of our standard, you know, one of our better grade cork rings, which I believe is the SCR3B.
2B.
2B? 2B,
Yep.
You're right, sorry.
SCR2B.
So this is a
That's the one I use on the fly grip.
1/2 inch wide, right?
Huh?
Believe so. And that's got a 1/4 inch diameter.
Yep.
And what you will notice with all these cork rings and most of our cork grips across the board, they all have a 1/4 inch diameter.
Yes.
So one of the best, you know, mandrels to buy is obviously the 1/4 inch.
Yep.
Got to have that one no matter what.
Pretty much.
So we have our SCR2B, and we also have our, this is the B Cork -500. So I believe we refer to this one as, is it the burnt cork?
Yeah, it's just burnt cork.
Yep.
Right.
And of course we have different variations. This is like more of your composite cork style, like your rubberized cork.
Yeah, you see that on like the ends of fighting butts or on the outside, kind of boxing in maybe some natural cork, because that's really durable stuff if you're banging it around on, you know.
We have the
tunnels and
green, you know, we got a green version, a blue version. If you take a look at our cork ring page, you'll notice we have probably every variation of a cork ring you can imagine.
You can get super
very
wild.
creative.
And the good thing is like Hunter here is showing all the 1/2 inches. We also have a lot of this in 1/4 inch. So, you know, depending on if you don't want to cut it and slice it, it will come in a standard, well, I call 1/2 inch standard, because that's pretty much what you get when you buy a cork ring. You're going to get a 1/2 inch thickness, and then the outer diameter of the circle is anywhere from 1.5 to 1 1/4 to 1 1/8, which all of that is kind of listed on each one of the cork rings. And we have it in different variations, but of course you're going to get the regular width, like you said, 1/2 inch, but then a lot of this stuff we're going to get 1/4 width. You know what I mean?
So
So
what I've done is I popped my cork ring in there. Now we're going to start with just a standard, you know, cork variation,
Yep.
or standard cork. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make a cut on each line. I'm kind of simplify the process for everybody. Obviously, you could go in and make a cut at, you know, every at each line, which is, you know, 12 times. You could do these in really small little, you know, wedges and have a pretty cool outcome.
Yep.
I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to do a 4 cut.
Perfect.
And then we'll go back in and we're actually going to pair our standard cork with our burnt cork. So what you want to start with, after you got your cork in there,
You get it good and seated.
yep, got to go all the way in there. From there, it's pretty straightforward, nice and slow, cut all the way through.
And you don't want to get crazy with the pressure, you know. With this saw, it's going to pretty much fly right through it, you know. You just want to put a nice even pressure, nice even strokes, and you'll be good to go.
And hopefully, let's see if it'll, I didn't get a punch for this other side.
And of course, stuff like the composite cork is going to be a little bit tougher to cut, and that's really only because, what you need?
There we go.
The composite cork's a little bit tougher to cut because it has a lot of rubber in it, and the rubber is certainly tougher than just natural cork. So
There we go. All right, so I did 1 cut. Now I'm going to come back. You can see that we still zoomed in there, guys. So my first cut to you guys should be completely vertical. Should be right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the jig. And I'm going to make another cut. And that's going to give me 4 equal pieces. And like I said, you can go in, you can make a cut at, you know, every little slide on the jig, do 12 pieces. The possibilities are literally endless on what you can make.
yeah, because that one right there has got 16.
16.
If you want to go wild,
I would.
up your patience level is high on that one.
I would
mean,
advise.
it turns out to be a cool product,
Yeah.
but that really makes it easy. Because otherwise, it would be
Yeah.
tough trying to freehand this stuff.
It is. I would start at, you know, on the lower end of the number, you know, on the pieces. Get comfortable with it first. It's not a hard process by any means, but just to kind of practice with, you know.
Yeah.
And always buy a few extra cork rings.
Yeah,
You don't-
cork, and of course, the good thing about that, and that's a good point, is, you know, cork here, we've got probably, what, 4 or 5 different grades?
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't start with some inexpensive cork, kind of get yourself settled, and then, you know, go to the high-end stuff once you start getting the hang of this. It's just like anything else, you know, you might want to, you know, give it a shot with some of the more inexpensive stuff.
Yeah.
So.
So I've got my 4 pieces there, and now I popped in my burnt cork, and we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to make my 2 cuts to give me my 4 pieces. Same as before, just going nice and slow. You'll notice the burnt cork is a little bit tougher to get through. Trying to speed it up here. You got any questions coming in?
Yeah, that's what I was actually just looking at here. Will asked, do you ever put tape around the cork ring to keep them tight in the jig? My cork rings tend to fit loose and wiggle around easily while cutting. Yeah, Will, you know, that's a great option and a good point. I actually do that. You'll see I put some tape on the Crafty cutter cylinder here that actually goes in. You'll see I put a few tape rings there because, you know, with it being a natural product, cork that is, there's going to be slight variations. And yeah, if it wiggles around a little bit, there's no reason that you can't take one wrap around that cork to make it fit snug. And it will. It'll make your life easier so it's not rolling around inside of there. That certainly, you know, certainly can cause a little bit of a headache.
And that first one, that's a good example because the first ring I had was tight in there and you almost had to, you know, what I took was just one of our little mixing sticks we have, and
you can pry it out.
You can come from the bottom. I'll show you guys in a minute. There's a hole that goes obviously all the way through this jig, and you can just pop it out from the bottom.
There you go. Just pick that thing off the table there. Jody said heat shrinking tube around shape grip prevents cork rings from tearing loose while reaming the grip to fit the blank. That's a good point, Jody. You know, some people, depending on what they're using, they'll wrap with tape. You know, you can go around and put a tape wrap around it while you're reaming it. You can also use the heat shrink. It all depends on, you know, how thick that wall is going to get on the cork, or how thin, I should say. Because sometimes on really, really big blanks, you're going to have to run that cork out pretty thin, and you certainly don't want to, you know, bust it while you're reaming it. So.
Cool. So I didn't get all the way through on that last ring, but I just popped it out and finished off the cut. No big deal. So now we have our 8 pieces ready to go. Now what you will notice is that these are, unless you're extremely, extremely good, these are all going to be a little bit off. So when you put all these pieces together, they're not going to line up just exactly right. But what you can do is just do your best, obviously. What we're using to glue these together is our trusty Elmer's wood glue. So we have that on the website, so you guys can find a link for that. Let's see if we have a tab on top here. No.
While you're doing that, I'm going to address this question that Corey jumped in here. He said, a good thing to mention is to always cut a full piece and then slice it to thickness. I'm not quite sure if he's meaning use a full cork ring to slice it to thickness, because there's times that I actually like to take and cut it thinner than the slicer will actually cut. So, for example, if you cut a couple of cork rings and then you put one in there and then put another one on top, you can actually cut it thinner than the cork ring will actually allow. You can actually get a metal washer too and lay it in there underneath it, and you can then cut it in half. So then you're taking a half of a half. So that's, you know, depending on how you want to go about that, that's the good thing about that slicer, is you can take it and work with it a couple different ways. And this is what I'm referring to here. This is the slicer, and you can see here it's got the groove cut around it, and then inside of it is where then you can take and drop that cork in there, and you cut it like this, and then when you pop it out, then you'll have it like really, really small slivers. And I like that, especially when I'm using it on the very end of fly grips or something, because it'll take it all the way down to 1/8 of an inch thickness rather than 1/4 of an inch thickness. So I really, you know, that way you're not having, you know, big composite ends on there, but it also cuts clean. And you know, because that composite, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it sure weighs quite a bit more than a regular cork ring.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to stick this on, you know, that size.
And even this
Or
with
even
the
that.
rubber in it, that really starts to get heavy. You know, I mean, the good thing though is you can utilize that for a little bit of a counterbalance if you're really paying attention to it. But if you don't want to add weight, but you want to add the look, I like to cut it. I like to get it real thin. Yep.
You gonna do those last couple questions?
Yeah, what's the one there, Charlie's question? Which is better for sensitivity, cork or EVA? We get this a lot.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, you know, it's one of those deals that I go back and forth with, and I don't know, do we have a built rod here with a reel seat on it? Jay, can you hand me that one right there with the MHX wing grips on it? No, 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 no. Come right there. That one. Yep. All right. So, this is where a little bit of an argument comes in, because people talk about sensitivity, and depending on how you hold this thing, right? Some people palm it and come way up here, right? Well, my fingers are going to be on the blank and the exposed blank, and only that much right there is on the wind grip, right? So that is probably your least sensitive part of your hand. If I'm going to take a needle, if you want to get poked in the very end of the fingertip, or you want to get poked right there in the meat in the palm, where you want to get poked? I want to get poked over here, because I'm not going to feel it. I'll feel it out here real bad. So that's tough. You know, that's tough for me to talk about it on sensitivity. Honestly, I'm thinking that all of them are going to be very, very close with sensitivity. It's going to be determinant on what you like feel-wise, how you hold the grip, how you make casts with it, you know, because some people pull it up and they two-hand cast. When I do that, I like to have, you know, wind grips on it, because, you know, we fish in high humidity here in Florida, we fish in rain, and believe it or not, it gets really cold here, you know, at times, but that's because we have such a high humidity. So, you know, I want wind grips, and people, you know, I'm sure I'm going to start a fire over this.
Oh, yeah.
But people like to say that wind grips aren't as sensitive. Well, you know, I'm using an exposed reel seed, and I'm probably 99% of the time going to feel the rod out in the tip when he eats it, not right here. So, yeah.
I think your reel seat's probably that, and a foregrip too, because, you know, you got to think about it on like a spinning rod, or even a bait caster too.
Yeah.
We typically don't use foregrips.
No. Well, you and your size 22 hands, you like to get your fingertip out there in front of the reel seat on the blank.
Like almost at the first guide, you know, way up.
Right. Yeah, you're almost all the way out there.
So I think your reel seat for sure. You know, if you can get your hand or some part of your hand or your fingers on that blank down towards your reel seat, your sensitivity is going to be way more, and your grip does not have a big effect on that.
Yeah, then worrying about should I use cork or carbon or whatever. I would be more worried about trying to, you know, spend the money on the best possible blank that you can buy, budget, you know,
Absolutely.
obviously, and then, you know, go about your reel seat. And that has to do with, you know, granted, we have gone up and down with this whole blank choosing thing, but we all have budgets. I have a budget that I want to spend a certain amount of money on certain rods, and if I'm going to be using, let's say, a drop shot rod, I'm going to try to spend the most that I can to get the highest sensitivity and the most light, all that stuff. But if I'm throwing a spinnerbait, or if I'm throwing a frog, or if I'm throwing something, I'm looking at it, you know, okay, we always talk about, everybody knows that I love to throw a topwater, right? I'm a big topwater, I'm a big spook guy.
Yep.
Now, I'm throwing that on not the lightest, not the most sensitive, nothing. Because if I can't see him eat it, I don't need to feel it. So that's where I save money. If I want to buy an EPS or an Elite X blank, drop shot. If I'm going to throw a topwater, which I'm going to watch him, I can then spend a little less money. Still get some good performance, but I'm not worried about that. So you can kind of work your budget through there, and that's for another show.
Right.
But you know, I like to help people when I can.
Yeah.
So,
all right, one last question, Seth. What do you use to cut EVA? I use 70-pound braid. Makes a great smooth cut.
Yeah.
Any downside?
He's jumping ahead, Seth. We're going to show you braid perfect. I'm actually going to show you. We're going to cut it with size D Pro Wrap. So you're good there.
Cool.
Thread. I love cutting with thread because it gives you a razor sharp cut.
Yep.
Hunter man.
All right, back to our cork, our custom cork rings. So we've got our pieces cut. I have a foil dish here. This is our foil D -3.
Yep.
And so, which is great to put your epoxy in after you mix it. Also great to use for your Elmer's wood glue when you're doing these custom cork rings. So I'm gonna start with, I found a great little cheap,
This is a good one.
what would you call this? A cork ring, like a picker-upper? like a
Or, yeah.
just a little
Or a push pin, I guess.
push pin.
Yeah.
That's
or,
all it is. It's just
or a
it's
cork ring picker-upper.
a
There
cork
it is.
ring picker upper.
You're going to have to come up with that part number tomorrow.
So this is it's a basic, just a push pin, like a thumbtack kind of deal.
Yeah.
You could use a lot of things.
Yeah.
Probably could use a toothpick, whatever works.
CRPRUP.
That's a long
dash.
one. Yeah, dash,
dash clear.
slash, two, dash, yeah.
Dash clear.
Dash clear.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 5 colors, don't you worry.
Easy.
Easy, yeah.
Easy now.
So after I've got my cork ring picked up, I'm gonna take my, this is just a quarter
Pie
inch.
slice. Cork pie slice.
Pie slice, okay.
Yeah, that's not a whole
pie
ring.
slice, okay, you're
All
right.
right, cool.
I've just got a disposable brush, quarter inch, doesn't really matter what you use, and I'm just gonna apply the glue on each side. And you don't have to apply too much, just an even coat. Sorry guys, if you can get that in there.
Yeah, the suspense is killing them.
I'm sure it was. On each side. Oh, I
Careful.
think we're gonna fall off here. Let me readjust.
There you go. And as he's doing this, it's a really good point to not go overboard. Less is more when you're putting on any kind of these glues, because you're going to eventually compress it to get a good bond, and all you're going to do is waste excess because it's going to come out.
So after I got both sides with just a thin layer of glue, I'm gonna come in.
Where's your other picker-upper?
I only got one.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on the way. I got more on order.
Right.
So I'm gonna see if this will stick here, which I believe it will just enough. Doesn't take much.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna come back.
Well, living dangerously.
All right. Apply to this side right here.
It gets better with it every time.
A lot of experience gluing together these little cork rings.
Is that what it is?
Tons. So got that. See if I can get this without getting glue everywhere.
Hey guys in the back, while Hunter's doing this, let's go ahead, look through, see who's been liking and sharing. Let's try to get let's do a giveaway here while he's doing this, or right after he's done, for the color and camo EVA, along with the assortment of cork rings. Let's pick somebody here.
Okay, so after I got that, I can actually grab the cork ring with the first piece I started with, and all I'm doing is just kind of lining these up. I got one more side here to put some glue on.
Ooh.
Without it sliding.
Ooh. It's riveting.
It really is.
I like it though. It's actually pretty cool. It's one of the more, if I'm going to mess with cork, I'm going to do something like this,
So I'm going to put that guy down real quick. Oh, better get the right one.
There it is.
Same thing, hit both sides really quick. Boom. I'm going to come in with a final piece. Now at this point, they're going to try to slide everywhere. So really you just want to get them pressed in enough, not that much, to where they line up as best as you can. Really what you want to look for is that inside diameter, that inner hole, to see if it will actually become, as circular as possible. And then,
I'm going to get you a mandrel here ready.
yeah.
It's a little,
Uh-oh.
I need the smaller.
So then I've got we got our zip ties here. I'm gonna come in with this. I've already pressed it down just a little bit. Squeeze it in. If you can zoom in towards the back here, hopefully you can see me there. All I'm gonna do is go over it and get a little bit more. And simple as that.
There you go. If you want to use that as a...
Yep. Now, Chris is gonna let me use this mandrel here. What we're doing is, obviously you wanna keep the zip tie on here. You wanna make sure the inside, squeeze this on here.
Yep. Yeah, before you really tighten it down, right?
Yep. Is gonna be as center as possible, so yep. So all I'm doing is putting on the 1/4" mandrel. I wanna make sure the ID is you know, as circular as possible, because the last thing you wanna do is let this thing dry. Now, it wouldn't set you back too much because you're still gonna wring this out more than likely.
Yeah.
But
well, keeping it straight, right?
You wanna keep it straight.
Yeah.
And of course you can do this if you don't have a mandrel, which I'm assuming you do if you are turning your own grips. You can do this with like the inside or the brush you used earlier. You can go inside and use pretty much anything. You can use a small little dowel, like a wooden dowel.
Screwdriver sometimes.
Tons of things you can use.
Yep.
But more than likely you're gonna put these on the mandrel anyway, so why not just go ahead and use it?
Yeah, exactly. Brett's got a question here. Do people make custom cork grips for jogging rods? I'm gonna assume, Brett, you got jigging rods there? And absolutely, anything that you're gonna put a grip on, you can absolutely make custom cork, custom EVA. You can do EVA composite, you can do EVA cork. That is really the good thing that we work with here is as much as your imagination can run, boy, let it run. We've got the pieces, we got the parts, we got the tools. Let it fly. So what do you say we give some stuff away? Get your credit card out, we're going shopping. Give that, who's the first guy there?
So we got three second runner-ups?
3 second runner-ups for some color and camo EVA along with an assortment of cork rings.
First one up, second runner-up here, Logan Johnson.
Cool. Logan Johnson, slide in our DMs, give us an email address or a mailing address, something that we can look up to see if you have an account in the system, and then that way we've got your information, we can send it out to you. Otherwise, we're going to need all of that, address and all that to get it out to you. And we'll do another second runner-up for the same giveaway is going to be Rick Kinlaw. I see Rick in here a lot.
Yeah.
Rick is a loyal follower of the show. So we appreciate that. Color camo EVA cork rings. Rick, get in those DMs. Tell us what's up. I'm sure you got an account.
Yeah.
We'll get it to you.
All right, and the last second runner-up.
You take that one.
Benjamin Shrew?
Yeah? With a shrew?
Shrew?
Is that what it is?
I would hope so.
Maybe. The double O. That's what it is. Old Ben Shrew, I'm thinking. Congratulations. Logan Johnson, Rick Kinlaw, and Ben Shrew are going to be the second runner-ups for the color camo EVA and cork rings. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
As always. All right, so it's time to work on some power tools, right? All right, so we've got the Benford CRB chuck upgrade on the American Tackle Power Wrapper thing. What I've got is I've got a 3/8 mandrel with some EVA on it. This is just merely to show, how it sets up, okay? What I'm gonna do though is we're gonna start from the beginning, and what we're gonna do is, I'll take this out here real quick. We're gonna talk about prepping a mandrel. We're gonna talk about, stop rolling around. Talk about prepping a mandrel and getting ready. Can you get me some paper towels there, sir?
Gotcha.
All right. So when I get a mandrel from us, I'm going to put it in here. Will you pull that heat gun out for me? Now, granted, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this is overkill. But if I'm going to put in the time to do cork grips, pie shapes, all kinds of stuff, I'm going to do as much overkill as I possibly can, because if you've been doing some custom grips, you will know that you can actually glue a grip to a mandrel. That's just the worst thing that could possibly happen. So what I'm going to do is I am going to heat this mandrel with a heat gun. The reason I'm going to do that is just like everything else, a lot of this stuff comes with coatings on it. Is this, Jay, how are you with volume and me and talking? Are you getting me pretty good? Okay, I just want to make sure that people aren't, at home not hearing me. So again, heat gun, power wrapper, and a mandrel. I'm spinning this, I'm heating it up. All I'm doing is I'm trying to break down any goo that might be on here. Is there any alcohol? Got denatured alcohol maybe? Actually, I'll just use this.
Yeah, I got some denatured.
Well, you don't want to put the alcohol in here when it's hot, so I put alcohol on here. Then I'm going to heat it, and I'm just going to rub a paper towel on here, right? Try to get that much of that off as possible. And I like it a little warm, and then I'm going to use our CRB mandrel wax. Okay? Put a little on here. It's another thing, you don't have to go crazy with this stuff, but I'm just going to put it on a paper towel, and I'm going to go back and forth. You can see this, right, Nick? Yep. Just going to kind of go back and forth here. Okay. So once we've done that, you can let this dry if you want, or you can just come back in and polish it right off. And of course, I'm using the foot pedal on here, so.
No, loose one?
Yeah, I'll listen to it. So now we got our polished up there. You can see we just pull all that off. And then what we're gonna do, now that the mandrel is properly waxed and ready, now we're gonna come in and glue cork rings. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick. You got some mixing? I got
6. Now, do you have to do that every single time before a grip?
I do it every single time. I do it every single time. And also, using the heat gun, I put it back in here because you're gonna get some glue that's gonna stick to that mandrel.
Right.
You know, as much as we try to say it's never gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So I use the heat gun, just like you would use heat under a guide to break down that epoxy. I'll use the heat gun, and then I'll come back in and get rid of it. And that really does a number on it.
Ronnie asked, do you guys have a blog with rod building instructions and tutorials? Yes, we do, Ronnie. We have a blog, which I'm sure the guys have probably already linked in the chat. If they're not, they will, I'm sure, right now. And of course, our YouTube channel, we have a ton of videos on, anything you think of as, guide spacing, putting handles on, choosing the right rod for your next build, anything you can imagine.
I can assure you, Guff is in the back, helping run here.
Oh yeah.
He is our creative storyteller extraordinaire. He's the best in the biz. If he doesn't have that link up already,
I know he does.
I can assure you he does. But in all seriousness, the blog is good. It's very, very good. There's a lot of great photos. There's a lot of great tutorials in there. We run videos out of it. He's got it going on for sure.
A lot of great info on the blog.
Yeah. All right, so what is it? Do you know what this part number is?
What?
This dish.
I think it's
Because these are new.
PMD-1. Plastic mixing dish.
Look at you.
Name them right.
You know, I would think you were in like purchasing. Or
Yeah,
something.
right.
That's just a hunch I have. Okay.
Let's see. You want to go with that real quick?
Well, what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to properly glue cork ring. All right. So we've got it mixed up. Pro paste. We're ready to go. I use Pro paste to glue my cork rings. Again, this will be another fire starter in here. I'm sure people use varying different glues. Some use Elmer's, some use different epoxies. I use Pro paste because I have Pro paste. I trust Pro paste. It's never failed.
Right.
Once, so we're good. All right. here's where it gets interesting, because keep in mind, we're going to glue cork rings, stack them. Then we're going to compress them, okay? So you don't have to get crazy putting glue on here, right? And I'm going to show you what I use. So I'm going to put a little bit on here, right? Got the mixing stick, 100 pack, ready to rock. And I'm going to add it here, right? And I'm going to go around this cork ring, and I'm going to pay close attention to not to get it in the center hole, okay? Because that is then going to go on the mandrel. Now you can see, you can glob it on here all you want, right? But what we're going to do is, then we're going to take this and skim it off. Nick, is this okay? All right, cool. So we're going to skim this off, right? Now you can see, all you kind of see there is the cork is now shiny. Is that good? All right. So that is just a skim coat. And that's really all it takes. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to slide this on the mandrel. We're going to slide it down. Okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the next one. So when we do the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just use the skim coat that I had pulled off, and I'm going to go around it like this. I'm going to do a skim coat, right? Again, it's shiny. And we're there. So now we've got cork ring to cork ring, and then I take it and I spin it, okay? When I spin that, all that does is that works the cork, that works the glue into the voids of the cork. Because cork has voids, no matter how high quality cork you get, it's got some voids in it.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do that. And then what now, this doesn't have any glue on it, so I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna be very careful to go around, and then I'm just gonna skim coat that. Moving away from the mandrel, and then now we got a skim coat on that. Do another skim coat on, slide it down, and then we're gonna stack them. And that's really how you wanna go about this. So then after you're done with that, you're gonna set this. We're gonna put it inside the clamp. Tell us about that part there.
So this is a new item we come out with, I think it was later last year. So this is the CRB-DHC, the Deluxe Handle Clamp. So there have been a few variations of this, style of cork clamp out there before. We've basically took it, it used to be made out of wood from several different other manufacturers. We've simplified it to a nice, compact, shape. It actually, pushes together here, and it comes in a very small box, super compact. And it comes with 4 different discs, depending on, what style or what shape cork you're using, or what length, or
and mandrel thickness.
And mandrel thickness.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Do you want to actually show it on a mandrel, or just, I guess you took that off, so.
Oh yeah, sorry. I figure we
Okay.
that's that. What was the part number on that again?
CRB-DHC.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's and it does varying lengths, varying thicknesses of.
All you do is pop these guys off of there.
Yeah.
And select which one you want, put it back on, and you're good to go.
Cool.
Just a couple quick questions. Michael, do you have rollers for CRB setup? The roller stands are on the way. They are.
They are on the way.
They're not on the way, but they are in the works, and they will be available very soon. Patrick wants to know about the patch above that's on your shirt.
That sticker has to do with. I think it's World Autism Day today.
Yep.
It's Autism Month. April is Autism Month, I believe, and April 2nd, which is today, is National Autism Day. So we're lighting it up blue for everybody out there that maybe has a family member or a loved one involved in that. I do. I've got a beautiful niece at home that actually loves fishing. It's fantastic. So she's wonderful, and that's why I wear it. So rocking the blue for Lighted Up Blue, rocking the sticker for everybody out there. We have a couple close friends in the industry as well. I don't need to name any names, but you guys know who you are at some other companies that we know that are in the fishing industry. We appreciate y'all. So we do what we can for those that we care about. All right, so Mike asked about, was there any sanding on the flat parts of the disc to get a better bond? Mike, honestly, I don't sand those cork rings before I bond them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I've never noticed that the cork that I have used being out of square enough to matter. I will say, again, cork being a natural product, it's not 3D printed, it's not machined, it's not any of that, okay? So there are a little imperfections, but I catch those imperfections when I make them up on the mandrel and I spin them. I spin them to create a better bond, and I notice if there's any wobble, and I match it. So each cork ring, if maybe one is a little like this and one is a little like that, the other side might be varying a little bit. So as I spin them, you can watch the cork kind of manipulate themselves together. So I try to get the best bond doing that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't sand them. Am I wrong? I don't know. And I'm not going to say that if you want to sand them, that's wrong, because it's not wrong. If you want to try to square them up as good as possible, I've tried to square cork. I tend to square it on my lathe or power wrapper after I have everything glued up, solid, because then you've got, let's say, a 14-inch grip or a 7-inch grip or whatever you're using. I come in after that and I square the grip ends, and I don't worry about the middle pieces, because in reality, if you use really, really light coats and you clamp them together, it's going to look like one whole piece, and you're not going to see all the slight imperfections in that cork after you compress it a little bit and it bonds together. You will see it on the foregrip side or on the rear grip side, but that's when I do my squaring of grips, when it's on the mandrel and I'm spinning it, because I can make it very true, and then both ends are true, and then I don't worry about the middle pieces, because those are there.
Good point.
So yeah. Speaking of steel mandrels, you want to give one away, or you want to do something with that?
Let's do something else real quick before
All right.
I lose my train of thought.
I was going to say, yeah.
So going back to our custom little pie shapes that we made earlier to make a cork ring, after these have set up, which you want to give them, I'd say at least a couple hours or so. It doesn't take, overnight or anything, but
Right.
give it a couple hours to actually set up. You want to go back in, pop this cork ring out of the zip tie, and you want to take it. Let's just imagine, we'll take this one right here for instance. These aren't going to be exactly flat on each side. You'll notice, it's probably really hard to see there, but it's, one little piece might be a little bit farther out than another.
Right.
Which does not happen on your pre-cut cork rings. Typically they are very straight.
Yep.
But your custom rings that you make, you want to go back in with some, what do we got here?
That's the 120.
This is 120.
That's the one that's in between. So we've got a fine, and then we have like a more coarse. We got 3 levels of sandpaper.
Yeah.
And that's the middle.
So what you want to go in and just kind of hit these cork rings on each side, and all you're doing is just pretty much flattening out each side. That way when you do go to put these on a mandrel and they, butt up against each other, they're going to be flat. You don't have to worry about, being uneven.
Yeah, because those pie shapes are because you're using different pieces of cork, and especially if you start getting 8 pieces, 12 pieces, 16 pieces,
Right.
You're going to get a little variation. That's where I would be careful about trying to glue those together without sanding them, more so than a solid piece of cork ring that's just been punched out of the bark.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Morris, can you cut EVA like you do cork? If so, what do you glue it with?
Yeah, you can absolutely cut EVA like you do cork. It just all depends on how you get your EVA. You might get it in. There's a short piece down here somewhere, isn't there? Oh, right here.
Right there.
So, for example, when you get your EVA, you're going to have to cut some of it off because it's an 18-inch piece and it's an 18-inch mandrel. So, you know, you're gonna have to cut a piece like this. So you can take some of this leftover, put it back on your mandrel, and cut tiny rings in it. And then of course, all you then do is you can put it, and it fits right in the jig. So then from there, you can cut wedges, you can cut slices, you can cut angles, you can do all kinds of stuff. You know, because it comes in longer sections like this and it doesn't have any voids or imperfections in it, I tend to cut it on this bad boy. So again, American Tackle Power Wrapper, we've got the CRB chuck upgrade, and I'm going to chuck this in here, tighten her down. Okay, got a couple cuts here, and I've got some marks. I'm going to show you guys. Where'd that D-thread go? All right, so we've got Pro Wrap 862D. Tighten her up here. We're going to cut it.
Yep. Tighten that down a little
I didn't
bit.
tighten the wheel. All right. So you can see that. Got a nice cut there. Let's see where we're at. Cut that. All right, so now we've got these cut. I'm going to pull it out of here. Pull that off. All right, I'm going to take my Allen key, a little adapter, pull these off. And of course, we had been playing with this earlier today, showing different things. So now we've got just different rings. We got rings like that. We've got rings like this. That thin. We showed kind of a groove here where you can cut a groove in it. Slide that off. Other rings here. And you'll notice under this, can you see that tape on that mandrel, Nick? So there's tape underneath this EVA. Sometimes when you get your mandrel, especially if it's been waxed, like it should be, before you start turning grips on it, this EVA will spin on this mandrel, okay? So sometimes you gotta lay a bead of tape down, but I mean, you can, that's probably 1/8 of an inch thick. So you can do little tiny discs, and those are perfect when you cut it with thread like that. So we've got little discs, we've got bigger sections, we've got sections like that. So, you know, a lot of times you can come in here and cut one at 1/2 inch, 3/8, you know, 1/4, 1/8. And if you want to do like a fade, you want to put a fade pack in, you know, people do fades in, what you call it, like thread. People do fades in thread. You can do fades in EVA, you know? So I'm gonna put a little more tape in here. So do we have that thinner one? Oh, yep. There we go. So turn one here real quick. Just gonna put another level of tape on here. Just helps grab it a little bit better. Because again, you know, a lot of the time with cork, you're gluing cork to the mandrel, but you're not gluing EVA to the mandrel. You know, so sometimes you've got to use this to kind of give it some grip. All right. Get it centered in here. Get her clamped down, get her there. So for example, got a reel seat here, and we just did earlier, we just did a small, you know, grip. So what you can do is, you know, we added a tenon, we added a little short grip there, fits right in. easy to go. You could do, Holly, you could probably do 6 or 7 of these out of one piece. You could do a fighting butt, you could do a rear grip, you could do a foregrip, you could do all that. So, and 2, if you want to just hand me a piece there, that one.
Cool.
You get a sheet like this, you can start with a more aggressive piece, And you got to be careful because if you start here on the edge, you can see you can round that edge pretty quick. Now, I'm going to show this is the most coarse that we've got. This is 80 grit. I don't tend to use 80 grit a lot in EVA because this is why. It's really gritty. It puts lines all in it, right? But if you've got your digital caliper and you want to go through it and go, okay, I want this length of this, that shape, that shape, that, and then you're going to do it, but you leave a little bit, you can always come back and then adjust from there. Then you can also take it, force it on its edge, make a sharp piece like that. So now we've cut a piece there. So if you want to do that, you can separate that out. You got an end there. We're going to taper that down. Maybe we're going to make a fighting butt out of it. So you can see this is something that you definitely don't want to do on Grandma's coffee table.
Absolutely not.
Hand me the real fine stuff.
Yeah, that's 120.
Nope, that stuff. So once you get to about where you want to be, and of course you can be very precise in cutting this if you want, or you can just tear it like I do. And then what we're going to do is we'll smooth it out. Kind of radius that edge maybe a little bit more. And that's a pretty high polish fighting butt, if you will.
Looks awesome.
You want to get there, And then from there, all you're going to do is add a butt cap or, whatever you want to do. And then, if you get there and you're like, the butt cap's too big, I don't really know what I'm going to do, you can always come back in. You can grab your thread and go, oh, okay, well, when you mic it up, go, okay, I just need to cut a little bit off of it. Okay, so now I cut a little bit off of it, and then now I've got a little bit, if you like a little bit bigger butt there.
There you go.
Slide that cap on, and now you're ready to rock. So that's all there is to it.
Easy as that.
Very, very easy. My goodness, where do we get all these questions?
Hey.
Jump on
You
it.
did
Let's
a great
go.
job.
What
I
are
was
we
waiting.
doing?
I was waiting on you.
That's it.
All right, let's see. Linda, any worries about cork delaminating after being glued, turned, and installed on the blank from use and/or water causing issues? No.
Listen, Linda.
Yeah. If you do it like Chris showed, I mean, how many cork grips have you turned and have been using in the fishing?
3. No, tons
Yeah.
and tons and tons. I mean, I've got cork grips all over the place, and the Pro Paste, that's particularly why I use this stuff. Because again, there's gonna be a lot of people out there that say, don't use that, use this. Use that, not this. I know that the Pro Paste works, period, the end.
Yep.
I use it for reel seats, I use it for gluing cork rings, I use it for mounting grips, I use it for all of that stuff. Even if maybe you break the butt of the rod, we need to put a sleeve in it, we're using Pro Paste for all of that stuff. I've never had it get too hot and come apart, here in Florida especially. I've never had water intrusion break it down. I've never had any of that stuff.
I mean, we use it to put push poles together with, right?
Huh?
Push poles?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I'm putting our CRB or our MHX push poles together. Yeah. That's literally watertight, a lot of force.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm using that stuff, period, the end. So.
Susie, can you build the grip on the blank and then glue it up?
Go ahead.
The issue with that is your inside diameter. So if you're using individual cork rings, you would have to ream those out one by one to put on the blank and then glue it.
Which is fine.
Which you can do it.
Yeah. But you're going to want to glue it, slide it on. So you're going to dry fit everything. Just like if we had all these little rings here, or all those little rings, ream it, slide on, ream it, slide on, ream it, slide on. Get it all situated, and then make sure when you come back off, make sure you have a system. Set that one there, that one there, that one there, that one there, all the way down. And then get ready and do this one, slide it down, put some glue on it, slide it down, put some glue on it, like that. Then you're going to put your rod in this. Mm-hmm. Then you can turn your grip. So yeah, you can absolutely do that, but just like Hunter said, it takes a little bit more planning, a little bit more thought behind it to know I'm going to do each individual ring, dry fit everything, then I'm going to take everything off, put it all together, then one by one by one by one, let it set up, and then turn it on the rod. You can. Just remember, if you do that and then you booger it up, it just,
Yeah.
then you got to start tearing stuff apart. So, yeah.
Will the cork jig cut slim slices in the EVA? Yes. I would use the method that you use.
Unless you want them exact. If
Yeah,
you want
want
them
'em all
perfectly exact, put them in the slicer.
Yep.
For the slicer this way, for the angled one, for the vertical one, for the 12, for the 16, use the slicer if you want them dead on.
Yeah.
If you want varying thicknesses or you want to measure them and spin it and cut it, yeah, but if you need it dead on, definitely put it in the slicer. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just like that, put that right in there. Yep. Bang.
And I believe, I don't know if we have the bushings that go in these, but you can use multiple bushings inside of this horizontal slicer, to make the varying thicknesses exactly what you want. Smaller, bigger, whatever.
Yeah, we've got it's just that bushing, You would just put different ones in there. So, yeah, if you got to have them exact, put that in there. And sometimes the EVA honestly does not fit as snug, so I don't remember who made that earlier. Do you have that sanding screen at your desk?
I believe I do.
Okay, maybe we can get somebody to go get that sanding screen real quick. So, what were we talking about? I lost my train of thought. In those, if we're cutting EVA, put it in the slicer if you want it exact. If you don't need to have it exact, then you don't need it. But definitely put it in the slicer if it's got to be. If you're going to do 15 slices that all need to be the exact same.
Yeah. Let's see, Justin, do you seal EVA with anything? No, you do not have to seal it at all. EVA is super durable material. You know, it's always going to come down to if you force it into a rod holder, or it might get a little ding or a little nudge in it. But honestly, it's pretty resilient material. It's going to hold up to water and rain and grime, and you can always wash it off at the end. It's I would say just leave it as is and go with it. It's kind of one of those things. It's not a natural material like cork is, so you don't have to really protect it over time.
Yeah. All right. So Hunter, give me a part number.
SS-180.
Yeah.
Which I will go ahead and say that we are out of stock on that at the moment. So.
But it is on.
It is on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way. So this is your sanding screen, and this is how you're going to use it. So you're going to get a wheel like this. Do you remember how long?
33 feet, I believe.
It's a lot. I mean, a lot. Because you're only going to use like this, okay? So I've got it here. I got it snugged down. This stuff is pretty, it's good for some things. I tend to just use a coarser grit. The only reason I've done a coarser grit is just because I got used to that, Got used to not using a screen, but anyway. So before I do this, we're gonna give away the runner-up prize, and you're gonna get a set of mandrels. So you're gonna get 4 mandrels, and we're gonna give that to Chris Flanagan. So.
Full set of mandrels.
Full set of mandrels. Congratulations, Chris Flanagan. I think it's only fair that we put in the mandrel turning wax. So guys, let's make a note in there that we make sure we get Chris Flanagan some turning wax for those mandrels, since we're sending him a full kit of mandrels.
Might as well.
Only fair. Cool. All right, so let's show the sanding screen. And again, it's pretty much is what it is. You ready, Nick? All right. Just going to radius this edge here with it. Stays nice and clean. You can see how it piles up here on the outside of the sanding screen. And it does create a nice smooth edge. It's not quite finished, that edge is not quite finished, but it's still pretty good. So we'll do this side too, just to show you again. So there you have it. Again, it kind of piles up on the outside here. So I like this stuff for some things. If you've got, for example, for cork, you're going to hate me having to clean this up tomorrow,
I don't think I'm going to clean it up.
You don't think so?
No.
Cool. The sanding screen is great for cork.
What?
Yeah, you're definitely
Everybody's
cleaning it up.
shaking their
Come
head.
on, J-boy. So the sanding screen is great for cork, especially because you've got a really long piece, let's say of cork. And they got kind of different heights because they're just little imperfections, right? Mm-hmm. And then you got some glue lines in there. You can take this and run it across the top. And all of those, kind of openings in the sanding screen will chew those little pieces off. And it's a great kind of starter. It gets everything to one level. Whereas, I don't always use the sanding screen for EVA because EVA starts at one level. It starts easy, clean, and it's pretty easy to sand down. So I just jump right into the paper. But otherwise, sanding screen is great for running it across We've been at this a while. Let me do a Crafty cutter.
Okay.
Because we got to do the Crafty cutter. I think you guys kind of got a feel for how to cut EVA and how to use this thing. Let's answer a couple questions while I'm getting Crafty cutter set up.
Jason, what tools do you use to shape the blocks of EVA? That one I honestly do not know offhand. I know most guys will use gosh, what are those called? Can you help me out with this one?
To shape in
Like
blocks?
like blocks. Of
Yeah,
grit.
you know, you're gonna, a lot of the guys will use those, almost like a wood cutter.
Yeah.
You know, where they have a tool rest, and then as the block comes around, it's almost like, I don't know what it's called,
I don't
but
either.
it's you know, got a point to it, and you'll take the edges off.
Yep.
You know, and also some people just take and use a razor blade and just cut an edge off, because that's all you really need to do is you just need to cut the edge, and then from there you're ready to rock.
Let's see, John, I have a musky rod with a CFX carbon grip. Does that need to be sealed, or can it stay as is? It can stay as is. That's perfectly fine. Like Chris was saying earlier, he likes the the texture of that grip. You can also seal it too. It does make it a little bit more slick.
Yep.
That's the only downside I have with actually sealing those grips, or any grip for that matter, is it makes it slick. So sometimes, get water on it and it can just be hard to hold on to.
Yep. All right. We're ready. Chucked in the Benford 2100 drill, ready for the Crafty cutter.
Good.
All right, so show them this is how it comes.
Oh.
Yep. There you go.
So this is the Crafty cutter. We have the piece that actually chucks into the drill. And you have your assortment of blades. And also, isn't there a sleeve that goes?
Here's a sleeve.
Yeah.
Sleeve that goes over this, and
There
that
it
is
is.
actually what fits inside of the cork.
And of course, your what piece you want to call this right here? The
That barrel?
the barrel.
Yeah.
The barrel comes with these little Allen keys, so you can just interchange each blade.
Yep.
Whenever you need to.
So what we need to do is we need to match the blades, and it comes, is there 5 of them? 4 or 5 of them?
Yep.
Okay, so what they have is they have little notches in them. You can see 1 notch is the smallest, then 2 notches, 3 notches, 4, and so on. So what we need to do is we need to match this inlet cut as close as we possibly can to the blades. Okay, are we getting this? I know that this is kind of ridiculous, the way I'm holding this, but so the inlet on this reel seat is what we need to match up to these blades. And that is what is going to give us, in the way that the cooking shows do it, like this. Good? So that piece is then actually going to fit perfectly inside of there. Okay? It's going to give a super clean edge, and that is how those are going to fit. Now I'm going to slide that out so you can see how it was, just like that. Okay? Now, a couple Crafty cutter tips. So, you got to be careful when you use this thing for a couple reasons. You can chew the whatever out of your cork if you're not careful. There's a couple things I do. You notice I've put a couple tape bands on this guy here. This is your sleeve that goes into the cork. The reason I do that, every single cork grip is different. I'd love to say that they're exact, but again, I've said this 100 times tonight, cork's a natural product. It's a little different, all of them. So you're going to put this sleeve inside of the cork here. If you notice now there's no wiggle. That's tight. See, I can hold it by the barrel. It's not so tight that I can't move it or pull it out, but it's tight, right? I'm going to push this down in here, okay? So it's all the way in there. Now, the Crafty cutter is going to go in here like this, and it's going to give, that sleeve is going to give it a base to slide into, and then we're going to cut it like that. Now, before we do that, if you take any kind of cutting device at cork and you are just barely doing it like that, it's gonna chew it, okay? We wanna try to get a drill that's got pretty high RPMs. You know, if you've got a drill that's just real slow, or it's only got 1 gear, so it's high torque but low speed, it's not gonna give you as good of a cut.
Yep.
Okay, so what we want is we want a high speed so that we can make a really nice clean cut. Now, we also like to visualize how deep we need to cut. So we need to measure the depth of this inlet here on this reel seat. So we're gonna go just a tiny bit past the measuring notch. There's one notch there that gives you the blade width. We're just gonna go a little bit past that. So what I like to do, some people like to drill like this because they feel like they can be straight and level. Some people like to do like this. Some people like to do like this. This is how I like to do it and make sure that I'm nice and straight. And again, before I touch the blades to this cork, I'm running it wide open because I want to make sure it's a good clean cut. Okay, everybody ready for this one? All right. And I do varying pressure, okay? So I add a little pressure, I back a little pressure off, I add a little pressure, I back a little pressure off. The reason for that is if you just full bore this thing and lean on it, it's gonna be chunking cork just all kinds of places, and it's bad, and it might bind up, so you don't wanna do that. And then if you barely touch it to it, you'll be here all day. So and you'll see I kinda add a little, pull a little, add a little, so we'll keep going. And then I'll check the depth, which is about right. All right. So in the theme of making a mess, now this is what we got. So you see here, super, super clean cut, and I'll show you based on, that's factory, this is mine. I think we know whose is better. So that one right there, again, always, you want to use careful pressure. So it's just, you're not leaning on it, you're not barely touching it. That is what's going to give you the best cut so that this thing is going to snug right in there. Okay? Probably you can see here, there is the tiniest little gap. That just means I just need to a little bit. Just take a tiny, tiny little bit more out, and it's good and snug, and it's ready to rock. So, I think a wise man on here once said, you know, don't be afraid to be cautiously aggressive, maybe? Is that the quote? Somebody was like a cautiously aggressive. So that's how you want to use the Crafty cutter. Cautiously aggressive.
Gotcha.
So, that's it.
Can you use the Crafty cutter on EVA?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's wrap up a couple more questions, and I think we got a grand prize winner.
Yeah, let's do the grand prize winner.
Want to do it now or wait?
Let's do it right now. CRB Grip Making Kit with steel mandrels is going to Tony Evans.
Tony.
Atta boy. Fantastic. Thank you as always, Tony, for watching. I feel like I've seen him on here before. Got some good questions joining in. Well, it paid off, Tony. There you go. Grip Making Kit with steel mandrels. Fantastic. How do you plug the hole? Mark is asking here. How do you plug the hole in the fighting butt after you have it shaped and installed on your rod? So there's a couple different ways to do that. You know, some guys will actually take all of this mess that you made, you know, whether it's cork, grit, whether it's whatever, and you can actually, some of the guys will take it and put it in a food processor, mix it up with some paste, pack it in there, kind of sand it off, and it'll match, you know. Some people will take, you know, just your fighting butt plug. We have like small black little plugs that go in there, put a cap on the end. Or if you want to get crazy and use the Crafty cutter or a Dremel tool, I think I put a photo up not too long ago where I used a coin. I used a Spanish euro, and it was really a neat piece I had got while Melissa and I were over there in Europe and Spain, obviously. And it was like a 1 cent piece, had like some historic building on it. So I was making a fighting butt for a fly rod, and of course I put it on the mandrel and I was left with a hole. What am I gonna do with that, right? So I actually took the Dremel tool, which I know you guys have heard me talk about the old Dremel. It's the best, like $49 you can spend in your whole life. And then I traced the coin on it and kind of just freehand the Dremel. I use the composite end because the composite gives a little bit, so you can actually cut it a tiny bit smaller and then force the coin in there and epoxy it in. And it's on that native 3-weight fly blade.
Looks really
Sweet.
good.
It's
Pretty
sweet.
cool.
So I know we got it back there on our social media somewhere. So that's a really cool, Ariel, if you want to do that, or I'm sorry, whoever that was. I forgot. Matt? Mark? Mark. So yeah. Whew. And you're going to have to get to sweep in.
I don't think so.
I even have
shot back in, maybe.
I even have EVA in my water.
All right, let's do one last question, and this is a tough one. Ariel, how do you shape a Cork pistol grip handle? Yeah.
Man, that's
I've
going to be tough. You're going to have to be like,
I got a great tip for you. Buy one.
we got them.
Yeah. We have them EVA too.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably where we're going to leave that one. Now, I will say, though,
that's a hard one.
Ariel, the problem with that is to shape a Cork pistol grip, it's going to be very difficult to get Cork rings that give you the outer diameter necessary to stack them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to, the barrel section of the pistol grip, and we actually were just photographing these, one of our, graphic design guys, Taylor back there, great at it. Mm-hmm. But we were looking at it, and we're going, how could you put one of these together just by Cork rings? And it doesn't look easy. I mean, because you've got Cork rings from the cylinder portion of it, and then you got kind of the bulge at the end with the, I don't know. That's going to be awfully tough, Ariel. I mean, awfully tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a tough one. Usually we don't get stumped, but, thanks a lot, Ariel.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's why we sell them.
Yeah. I would really try to look. Now, if you want to adjust the one that we've got,
You could do that.
now we're talking. You could come in and you could cut it and put some trim rings in it, or if you wanted to dress it up a little bit once you have the piece, well, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. You could always go in, like you said, cut it. You can throw some composite cork or any of the other colors in there.
Yeah, because then if you did that, you could come back in, and if you had like a belt sander or something where you could, because again, on that pistol grip, it's got rounded edges kind of on the bulb on the end, so you'd kind of have to be able to, like if this was turning, you'd have to be able to rotate the grip all around it if it was a spinning sander, kind of a disc, or if it was a belt sander, and you'd have to kind of do, I don't know, man. More power to you. If you do it,
Yeah.
boy,
Let us know.
So anyway, but all right, I think we're running late. This is one of the latest ones ever. We're getting into the 8 o'clock hour, which if we don't get upstairs and eat Mom's Hot Pockets in a little bit, she's gonna be fire mad. And we don't want that to happen. So anyway, we've made a big enough mess. I hope you guys learned something. This isn't always the easiest, but it is pretty rewarding because you can come up with some really, really cool stuff. And Hunter, as always, did a solid job on the cork.
Oh, thanks.
I'm glad you took that one, took the cork by the horns, and did that one. So congratulations again to all the winners. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you've got any questions, we'll jump on that tomorrow. I know Guffey gets in there, Bob gets in there. We all kind of tag team that in the morning and get all those questions answered. And, big props to the team in the back. We had Taylor, we had Guffey, we had Hoffma answering your questions, putting up links. So, and then of course the Thelma and Louise of videographers back there, Jay and Nikki Mintz, man, doing a great job as usual. So, you got anybody else?
I think that's it.
Is that it?
That wraps up the team. Great team we work with.
Wonderful.
Make sure you guys definitely check out our Mudhole blog, which was mentioned earlier.
Do the blog.
YouTube channel, the resources tab on our website.
That's a
There's
huge help.
so much knowledge on there.
It really is.
That if you guys haven't at least checked it out, just go look at it, see what's on there. It might come up in the future where you guys might need that source of information.
And of course, as always, the sales men and women up front. If y'all have any questions that you need answered right away during business hours, get on the phone lines. They will help you out measuring stuff, ordering stuff, and recommending pieces and parts. So again, as always, for this guy, Hunter McCamey, I'm Chris Adams. Thank you for joining us in the basement for Mudhole Facebook Live.
See you next time.
Take care.